He never left the house. It had been 3 days since Billie Eilish's brother Phineas had seen his sister leave the house. The front door was still wide open, but she wasn't in the living room watching TV like she liked to do. She wasn't in her bedroom writing songs either. In fact, he hadn't seen her at all. She hadn't even come down to eat breakfast. But it wasn't like her to skip meals. It was unlike her not to say anything at all. Where could she be? When he was younger, Phineas would always follow his big sister around. Back then, she was the cool older sibling who took him everywhere and taught him how to do everything. He wanted to be just like her when he grew up. Now that they were making music together, it felt only natural that he should take care of her. So when their mom left for work at 7 a.m., he started looking for her. First, he checked the obvious places. Her bedroom was empty except for her duvet on the bed. The TV was turned off in the living room, but there was no sign of his sister. Usually, she would have left a note or something if she'd gone out, but there was nothing. Did she go to one of her favorite places? Maybe Maggie's, where they sold those delicious croquettes she loved so much. Or the museum, which she visited almost every day. Or perhaps the bookstore where she bought all her notebooks. He dialed her number, but it went straight to voicemail. After searching the entire city without finding any trace of his sister, Phineas started to get worried. He knew she was capable of taking care of herself, but she was also impulsive and reckless. What if someone had hurt her? Just thinking about it made his stomach clench. As night fell and Eilish still hadn't come home, he decided to call the police. They took his report and told him they would look into it, but the truth was they didn't really believe him. She was 18 years old and probably just out having fun with her friends. He knew they wouldn't find her unless she was missing, so he called his parents and told them what happened. They were shocked and immediately flew back from their vacation. "I told you to take care of her," his dad said when he got home. "What did you do?" Phineas shook his head. "I looked everywhere. I called her phone, but it just went to voicemail. I don't know where she is." His mom put a hand on his shoulder. "We'll find her, sweetie. Don't worry." But even though they tried to sound confident, Phineas could tell they were scared too. For the next few days, he hardly slept or ate. All he could think about was Eilish. Every time the doorbell rang, he jumped. Every shadow seemed to look like her, but it never was. His parents kept calling the police for updates, but they always said the same thing. They were still looking. They didn't have any new information. He hated the sound of that. He hated the pitying looks from their friends and family. Most of all, he hated the fact that he couldn't stop thinking about what might have happened to his sister. The Eilish and Phineas O'Connell story is a true story. When Billie Eilish was 13, she started feeling sad and numb all the time. She was also having trouble sleeping. At first, she thought it was because of school, but then she realized it was something else. She was being bullied. It wasn't physical bullying, but it was hurtful nonetheless. People would make fun of her clothes, her hair, the way she looked. They called her weird and ugly. And after a while, she believed them. She stopped going to school and spent most of her time at home in her bedroom. She wrote songs about her feelings. She poured all her pain and anger and sadness into the music, and somehow that made her feel better. One day, she shared one of her songs with her brother. He was only 10, but he understood how she felt. He had been bullied too. They started making music together, and it became their thing. Now, years later, they were famous all over the world. But even though they had millions of followers, Eilish still felt like an outcast. She was always hiding in the shadows. She wore baggy clothes and makeup and never smiled in public. The cameras couldn't see her face, so it didn't matter. But when she went out, she wore a mask. Not the COVID kind, but a Guy Fawkes mask. That way, nobody could recognize her. She wanted to live a normal life, but it wasn't possible. She was too famous. One night, she decided to go out and get some fresh air. She put on her mask and headed to the nearest park. There were lots of people there, but none of them knew who she was. She sat down on a bench and closed her eyes. For a moment, she felt free. Then she heard a man's voice. "Hey, you want to buy some drugs?" She opened her eyes and saw a skinny guy with greasy hair holding out a bag. "No, thank you," she said. He didn't seem to hear her and walked away. Soon, another man approached her. "Hi, sexy! Want to come with me?" This time, she got up and screamed, "Get away from me, you dirty old man!" He laughed and kept walking. Eilish had had enough. She stood up and walked away. As she turned around, she saw a group of teenagers pointing at her and laughing. "What's so funny?" she asked. "You look like you're constipated," one of them said. Another one added, "Yeah, and your mask makes you look even funnier." Then they all started making fun of her, calling her names, saying cruel things. She wanted to cry, but she didn't let them see her tears. Instead, she put her hood up and hurried home. Back in her room, she threw herself on her bed. She felt terrible. She had never been treated like this before. Nobody had ever said such hurtful things to her. Suddenly, she heard a knock on her door. It was Phineas Eilish. "Are you okay?" he asked. She nodded. "I'm fine," she lied. "You sure? You haven't left your room for 3 days. You haven't eaten anything. Are you sure you're okay?" She got up and walked over to her window. She looked at the street below. "I don't want to go out anymore. I'm too scared." "Don't worry, sis. I'll protect you," Phineas said. And she knew he would. He always did. But now she was afraid he would get hurt because of her. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please share it with others and leave a comment below. We appreciate your feedback and support. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.